So understanding participles. In the bracketing course, we learned that for the most part, we will only break up participles into its own proposition if they are functioning adverbially. So yung mga participles that function as a substantive, ibig sabihin nag-function siya like a noun, no, or nag-function siya like an adjective, no, usually we don't break them, no, or separate them from the main clause, no, kasi nga they give us the contents nung ano. Now again, wala naman talagang hard fast rule pagdating sa arcing tsaka bracketing. If you want to break it up, tapos lalagay nyo ID explanation telling us the content of the object ng isang action, or pinapakita mo na ito yung subject ng isang action, then that's fine, no? And sometimes, no, meron tayong mga relative clauses na really yung underlying Greek niya is a substantive, no? Substantival participle sila. We usually binibreak din natin sila because hindi lang naman siya nagbibigay ng further explanation kung ano itong tinutukoy ng substantive na to. Sometimes, no, may reason yun. Ba't nilagay yan ng isang author? Pero, yun, for the most part, no, we will only break up participle. So, ito yung rule, tapos there's exception to the rule. Okay? Yung exceptions, wag muna tayo doon. Doon tayo sa rule muna. Nail down natin yung yung rules muna. Okay? So we will break off participles that are functioning adverbially. Example niyan dito, no? And be found in him not having a righteousness of my own that comes from the law. No, this is a participle, nag-function siya adverbially. Ganon din dito, and may share his suffering, becoming like him in his death. No, yung becoming is a participle, yung having is a participle. So we break those participles in a separate proposition. But yung question then, now that alam natin kung alin yung i-break off natin, how does an adverbial participle function in relation to the main clause or phrase that they modify? Okay? So sabi ni Daniel Wallace sa book niya na Basics of New Testament Syntax, dinefine niya yung adverbial participle this way. The adverbial participle is grammatically subordinated to its controlling verb. Yung controlling verb, usually yan yung main verb ng clause. Now, there are exceptions, pero again, dun muna tayo sa common, usual, hindi dun sa exceptions. No? Meron siyang main verb, and itong mga adverbial participles, no, minomodify niya in some ways yung main verb. Okay, so in that sense, subordinate siya. Yung main verb, yung main clause, and yung adverbial participle or yung participial clause, siya yung nagpa-function as an adverb na subordinate doon. So sabi dito, like an ordinary adverb, the participle modifies the verb, answering the question when, temporal, how, means, or manner, tsaka why, purpose, or cause, etc. Now, according to Wallace, no, further, sabi niya, most adverbial participles belong to one of 8 categories: temporal, manner, means, cause, condition, concession, purpose, result. Okay? So, every time you will encounter participle and you think it is functioning like an adverb, ito po yung mga tanong na tatanungin nyo immediately, no? Ito ba ay nagpapakita ng time, ng temporal nuance, or ng manner, or ng means, or ng cause, or condition, or concession? May kinukonsid ba siya? Or nagpapakita siya ng purpose or result nung main verb? No? So yan yung mga tanong natin. Now, without going into details dun sa Greek participles, kasi medyo advanced na siya, medyo mahirap din siyang ituro sa maiksing panahon, no? Meron lang tayo ditong ilang examples, no? That would help us, no, at least magkaroon kayo ng idea ano yung mga participles na to. Okay? Itong mga function na to ng participle. So, talon tayo dito sa Bible Arc na ginawa ko para lang ma-open ko rin yung Greek. Okay? So first, no, meron tayong participle na nagpa-function like nagsisignify ng time. Okay? When does yung main verb, yung main clause, nangyari? Okay? So, temporal yung kanyang function. This is a temporal participle. So, kung mapapansin nyo po, dito sa example natin, and after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. Okay? He was hungry. Notice that sa translation, sa ESV, dinagdag nila yung after. Why? Kasi, tinake nila siya as a temporal participle. Okay? Itong fasting. So, sa original, ito lang yan. Itong Greek word lang na yan yun. Okay? Manonotice nyo siya ay naka-participle. Okay? So, it is telling us, no, when, no, nangyari yung, or kailan siya naging hungry. No, it is after 40 days and 40 nights, no, of fasting, he was hungry. Now, you might say, di ba, ano rin yan, parang action result din yan because, or parang ground inference relationship din siya, di ba, in one sense, no? Because he fasted, therefore he was hungry, or because he fasted and as a result, he became hungry. That's true, no? But again, manonotice niyo yung yung word surrounding yung participle, no? It seems na hina-highlight niya yung time, no? 40 days and 40 nights. No, after fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. So binibigyan niya ng emphasis yung time talaga dito. Okay? Any questions dito mga kapatid?
None.
None? Klaro tayo dyan, klaro? Okay. Then, we have another participle here. Ito naman ay manner. Okay? Manner. Ano yung manner? Nagbibigay siya ng color dun sa main verb. Nagbibigay siya ng color sa main verb or ng attitude or character dun sa main clause. Hindi niya sinasabi sa atin how yung isang verb or isang action was executed. Ano yung means of execution? That's not what's being said. Rather, ano yung manner of execution? Okay? So here, sabi dito, ito yung main clause, no? Then they left the presence of the council. And notice, kinopya ko po dito kasi yung versification, no, hindi siya, kasi kung ibabase natin yung versification sa yung word order sa Greek, medyo awkward siya. So, pero for the sake of clarity, kinopya ko itong verb na to. Actually, kasi itong verb na to is yung rejoicing is nandito siya sa taas, no? Pagka tinignan nyo sa Greek. So, kinopya ko lang siya dito just to make clear na yung participle na to, itong rejoicing, is the manner, no, in which or by which they left the council or the presence of the council. No, they left rejoicing. No, they left rejoicing. Ito yung manner of living nila. Hindi sila they left begrudgingly, hindi sila they left angry, no? That they were counted worthy. No, they are rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer dishonor. So, pinapakita niya yung manner. Kuha po natin, mga kapatid. Wala tayong questions yan? Malinaw po? Okay.
Yes.
Then another example ay action means. No? This time, this answers a question, parehas na question, no, how, pero hindi na yung manner or yung color ng action, but rather yung means of execution. Okay? I have seen betraying innocent blood. And notice, sa translation, meron siyang by kasi that's a gloss. Interpret nila yung participle as means. Kaya nilagyan na ng by. Okay? I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. Ito yan. Okay? So, also notice that parehas na symbol yung ginamit natin, no, sa action manner. tsaka action means. Kasi po sa arcing bracketing, no, we don't have separate relationship for this for this two, no. Now if you want to make a separate, that's fine. No, gawa kayong separate na separate na symbols for action manner tsaka action means, no. Pero if you put action manner na symbol sa action means, okay lang po 'yun. Just take note na ang ibig sabihin natin dito is not manner, but that means yung pinapakita ng author. Does that make sense? So halimbawa, action manner yung symbol kasi yan yung provided sa atin nung tools. So just take note na yan ay means of action, hindi siya manner of the action. Kuha po natin. Also, maganda rin na maintindihan natin yung pinagkaiba ng dalawa, no? Kasi yung isa is hindi mo kumbaga he is stating precisely, no, how this sinning was carried out, no, by what means. Yung isa kasi is color no. In fact, you can I have seen rejoicing, I have seen by betraying innocent man rejoicing over that sin. So yung rejoicing over that sin, no, I'm just adding, no, for the sake of example, rejoicing over that sin is the manner, and yung betraying of innocent man is the means of sinning. Does that make sense? So you might encounter verses like that. So be aware dun sa difference na yon, no, ng means tsaka ng manner. Okay? Then another example ng participle, another function ng participle, no, is etong tawag dito, ground or cause, no, cause. No, then Jesus, deeply moved again, came to the tomb. Notice na hindi ko nilagay ground relationship, no, rather inference. Why? Because yung causal participle na deeply moved, no, or being moved or being deeply moved, no, siya yung cause nung 38b, he came to the tomb. Okay? And since yung participle comes before the main verb that it modifies, yung pipiliin nating relationship would be inference. Kasi ito yung ground, ito yung inference from that ground. Okay? Also, note that ang participle of cause, no, usually it comes before the verb that it modifies. Okay? Kumbaga sa word order, nagka-come before, kumbaga ito yung ground participle or causal participle, it comes before the verb na minomodify niya. So kaya usually ganito po yung may mapakikita nyong grammatical construction niya. Okay? Then we have here an if then, no, or conditional participles. Okay? So notice na yung if is nakalagay sa bracket, nilagay ko siya sa bracket kasi yan ay gloss or interpretation ng ESV dun sa participle na to, no? We do not give up, or not giving up, we will reap. Not giving up, we will reap. So ito yung condition para mangyari yung 9A. Okay? If we do not give up, we will reap. So ito ay participle. Okay? Now, pagdating sa natin sa translation, hindi na siya naka-participle yung form, no? Kasi nga ininterpret na siya nung translation, no, to mean as if then. Okay? Now, there are cases that translations would differ, and so it matters na alam natin na, uy, bakit sila nag-differ? Bakit itong isa translate niya as a because, yung isa naman translate as an if, no? Yung isa naman translate siya na wala, no? Iniwan siya as ambiguous. So mabuti na alam natin why, ano nangyayari dito. Well, perhaps yan ay isang participle and nagpa-function siya as condition. Does that make sense, mga kapatid? Any questions so far? Wala po? Now, I want you to notice na so far, yung mga tinignan nating participles, lahat sila, no, yung participles ay subordinate both grammatically and logically dun sa main verb. Okay? Ulitin ko yung mga participles na nakita natin so far, katulad ng temporal, manner, yung means, yung ground or cause, no? Yung conditional, lahat sila so far, no, ay subordinate both grammatically and logically dun sa minomodify nilang clause. Okay? Now, ganun din po itong isa, no, itong concessive. No, concessive participle. Sabi dito, and you were dead in the trespasses and sins. Tapos kung manonotice nyo, naglagay po ako ng ellipsis dito. No, kasi mahaba po siya. And yung main verb na minomodify niya comes only sa verse 5, no? Sa verse 4 to 5. So dito po sa verses 1 to 3, wala pa pong main verb dyan. Wala pong main clause dyan. Okay? Isang mahabang concessive statement po siya. Kaya manonotice nyo, 1 to 3 nilagay ko dito, tapos ito ay 4 to 5. Na-edit ko lang yung 4 to 5 dito. So, and you were dead, meaning, even though, although you were dead in the trespasses and sins, tapos in-state niya, ano yung sin na yan, that is that which you were, yan yung sins that you were walking into, di ba? You're following the course of the world, the prince of the power of the air, etc., etc. Those are just explanations or giving us further information about these trespasses and sins, no? Pero yung main idea is nandito pa, no, sa verse 4. Nandun sa but God. Okay? But God, tapos meron uli diyang maiksing hindi naman aside, no, parang he just summarized yung sinabi niya sa verse 1 to 3, no, na kung saan even though we were dead, no, inulit niya lang just for the sake of baka makalimutan natin, no, but God made us alive together with Christ. Ito yung main idea, and yung concessive participle is yung were. Okay? Now, sa translations, hindi gano'n siya halata, no? Kasi and you were lang. Pero, most translations naman, yung verse 4, translate siya as but, no? But God. So, medyo mapapansin nyo na yun, okay. Meron ditong contrast in one sense. So, merong contrary statement dito. And that's verses 1 to 3. Now, ano ba yung concessive na natutunan natin? Yung concessive, no, nilalagay yan, ginagamit yan ng mga author, no, yung logical relationship na yan. Naglalagay sila ng obstacle, yan yung concessive clause, no, that rubs against dun sa main point, sa main idea. And yung main idea dito is that God made us alive, no, because of His rich mercy and love, no, abounding love, no, He made us alive, and that rubs against this seeming obstacle kay God. So, in doing so, na-highlight lalo yung power ni God and yung love ni God and yung pag-make alive sa atin ni God, that only by God's grace and love and power, we were made alive. Hindi ito galing sa atin. Okay? Hindi tayo nag-cause para mabuhay tayo. Okay? So, isa yan sa pinaka-favorite ko na logical relationship sa Bible. At isa sa mga favorite kong participle sa Bible, no, yung mga concessive na participle, kasi nga ano siya para siyang he's conceding something, no, he's granting, yes, you were dead, it's true that you were dead, but nevertheless God made us alive. God made you alive. Does that make sense, mga kapatid? Nakuha niyo po? So that's concessive. No, so far, so good. Ito ay mga subordinate grammatically and logically, itong mga participles na to. Now, yung medyo tricky, no, is pagdating sa action purpose tsaka action result, no? That is yung mga purpose participles tsaka result participles. Ito yung medyo tricky kasi grammatically subordinate ang mga participles by nature, no? By itself, ang participles talaga, they are subordinate. They need something to hold on to, so to speak, di ba? No, meron silang main verb na minomodify. However, no, it is still logically the main point. It is still we would say na siya yung logical main point. Okay? So kaya nilagyan ko ng green ito. Kahit pa naka-block yung signifying kasi siya yung purpose participle at nasa kanya yung main point indicator kasi nga sa action purpose relationship, it's always the purpose, the main point. Kasi nga, that's why you are doing something. Yun yung point of saying something. Okay? In this case, he said, whatever yung that comes before it, no, this he said for the purpose of signifying what that he should die. Okay? In order to signify what that he should die. I think this is referring to Peter. No? Kausap niya si Peter. If I'm not mistaken. Okay? So, though grammatically, ulitin ko, grammatically subordinate siya kasi siya ay purpose participle, nevertheless, siya ay logically main point. Okay? Between the two propositions. So, okay siya, no? Tricky siya kasi signifying would sound like this is said by signifying, no? Kung ang alam lang natin na participle is yung manner, means, you might choose that. But sa KJV, no, minintain nila yung signifying, no, na literal siya, signifying, di nila tinranslate. Pero the rest, I think yung translation nila dito is so that or in order that o kaya to signify. Ginawa nilang infinitive yung participle. Na-try niyo po yan i-check, mga kapatid. Tingnan natin sa ESV, no? Ayan, no? He said this to show. No? So, para maipakita yung idea na siya yung purpose of the utterance, no? Or the saying, no? May pakita na ito yung purpose. Ginawa lang infinitive yung, kumbaga, translate nila, ni-render nila yung participle as an infinitive. I think ganun din sa NESB, no? But he was saying this to indicate. No, again, ginawang infinitive. NET, ganun din, if I'm not mistaken. Now, he said this to indicate. Okay? So, yan yung action purpose. Okay? Action purpose. Then, again, yung since medyo magkamuka ang action purpose saka action relationship participles, ang lagi niyong titingnan dito, mga kapatid, is yung tense din ng verb. Kasi usually, ang action purpose relationship, no, yung tense ng participle in relation do sa main verb is that of future usually. Kumbaga, it and isa pa pala no, na dapat yung tignan is kung ang intentionality ba yung binibigyan ng emphasis. No, at hindi yung intended purpose. Okay? So tignan niyo yung tense, usually future 'yan, no? May mga exception na minsan naka-present siya, no? Pero most of the time naka-future siya. Ito present siya, oh. Pero tignan natin yung said. Imperfect. So ito nangyari sa past, tapos is still speaking, no? Nangyari siya sa past, still speaking, tapos this is to indicate or to signify. So in relation sa main verb, future siya. Nakuha niyo pa? Nakuha niyo po? Kasi ito yung ginagawa ko and ito yung purpose ng ginagawa ko. Okay? This to signify something. Okay? So i-relate niyo siya lagi dun sa main verb. Yun ang dapat yung i-check pala, by the way, no, sa mga participles. No, don't just ask ano yung tense ng verb. Ask ano yung tense ng verb and how does it relate sa main verb in terms of yung time nila. Okay? Halimbawa, another example dyan is yung ground, no? Kanina na tinitingnan po natin. Usually yung ground naka-perfect tense yung naka-perfect or aorist tense yung yung ground or yung causal participle, tapos yung main verb no ay naka-present. Now, may mga cases na hindi ganun yung scenario. Titingnan niyo yung context. Okay, read the context. Napaka-helpful lagi ng context pagdating diyan na kung saan lumalabas sila dun sa mga typical usage, no? So, punta ngayon tayo dito sa last, no, action result. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified by all. No, again, participle siya, being glorified, pero nag-function siya as result. No, he taught in their synagogues, being glorified by all. Hindi nito pinapakita na yung purpose ng pagtuturo ni Christ, no, is so that he might be glorified. Okay? Hindi niya sinasabi na he taught in their synagogues in order that he might be glorified by all. Okay? But rather, yung result ng kanyang pagtuturo without him intending to be glorified by all, he was nevertheless glorified by all. Yun yung naging result nung action na yun. So, yung isang pwede nyo tignan no, sa action purpose at action result, ito yung madali mahanap ito yung madali makita kapag ka action purpose, tapos yung result hindi nangyari, okay? That's clear na action purpose talaga siya. No? Halimbawa, ito yung intended result ko, pero hindi nangyari, then what you have is action purpose. Kapag ka naman meron kang action result and yung result hindi intent nung nagsasalita o nung gumawa ng action, then there's a clear indicator na action result yung nandoon. Okay? Kasi hindi niya intent to, pero ito yung naging result. So, action result. Then we have, on the other hand, may purpose siya, ito yung intended result niya, pero hindi dumating yung result, then you know that action purpose yung pinapakita dito. No? Pinapakita yung intent. Now, yung tricky is kapag ka nag-overlap sila. Meaning, kapag ka yung intended result is nangyari. Okay? At yung result is the intended purpose din nung gumagawa. Okay? So, once na there's an overlap, again, titingnan nyo dyan yung context. Now, if you read Luke 4:15, Jesus doesn't want to be glorified. He doesn't want to be known. At least at that point, right? So, we know na hindi ito yung intended purpose niya. O hindi yun yung intended result niya. So, hindi yun yung purpose niya, no? Na mag-glorified, at least at that point, na mag-glorify by all. Okay? Di ba, naalala niyo yung mga kapatid niya, sinasabi, show yourself to the world. Di ba? Naalala niyo yun? But sinasabi ni Christ, kung dumating siya just to get praises from men, no, you will know that he's not from God. No? So, alam natin from the gospel's context, no, yung totality ng buong gospel, how Christ taught, no, he doesn't want the limelight. No? So, we know for a fact na ito ay action result at hindi action purpose.